Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine.
Now, talking about national life, that was one enterprise that you went into that didn't succeed. Why exactly did the national life die?
No, national life succeeded. As a matter of fact,
Okay.
I think I became a victim of the success of national life.
Okay.
I became a victim in the sense that when we started 2008, of course with lot of support, total support from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. When we started, it was instant hit. You know, it was one publication we started, and part of our secret was this simple. Asiwaju Tinubu provided me with the network of Nation. Nation has a superb network distribution system in the country, and also the printing infrastructure. You have printing press in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. So we're being printed simultaneously and distributed. So for that reason, we're able to hit the market and penetrated the market from day one. So in the space of 3 years or so, we have gone daily. We're everywhere daily. So I can't thank Asiwaju enough for all the support for that. Now, if I became I became the bride I surely wanted at all cost, it was because of the success I recorded in national life. As a matter of fact, when I got to Benin, part of the task Comrade gave me was that he wanted me to do to paper. He wanted me to repeat what I did to national life in Osaba newspaper. He said they liked the way national life became a national sensation within a short while. And they wanted me to also help lift Observer. So, you know, if you are the chief visionary of a mission, of a business, if you are not around, it's unlikely that people who around you or you led the business for will have the same network, the same reach like you. You understand? So by going to Benin, national life became the casualty of my outing in Benin.
Which means you never had the successors.
You know,
I
had good successor. I mean, the guy I handed over to is Christian Ita. He's the special advisor now to the governor of Cross River, Governor Ben Ayadi. Yeah. But when I talk about having the network, the people I had access to keep the business running, you understand? People who helped us and all that, they didn't have the access. You understand? And so that became a problem. You know, it was impossible for me to be running national life as commissioner in Edo State. You understand? So that impacted on the newspaper.
So how do you feel? How do you feel that the paper is no more in existence? It's no longer on the stands.
Well, I had the option. I had the option of starting when I came back, when I returned from Benin. In fact, some of my workers then, the moment they heard that I resigned from Benin, they were jubilating. Our guy is coming back. When I got back, I say, oh, gentlemen, the business landscape has changed. You know, things we were doing in 2008, when we started, we couldn't repeat it in 2015 anymore, when I came back. So I said, look, online business, online is the new frontier of journalism. So whatever we're going to do has to be tailored along that path. So for when I came back, I teamed up with my friend, my brother, my lifelong collaborator, Azui Shekwene. So when I came back, what I immediately did was to also collaborate with him. I'm sure you must have read about the Interview magazine.
Yeah.
And I have interest in interview. Interview magazine. So I've not left journalism. It's just that you know you also have to change with the time. You have to change with the time. As a matter of fact, when I came back, one of the meetings we had initially at the interview, we're thinking of expanding the business so that maybe we go daily. And I said, look, what I foresee is a paradigm shift in journalism in Nigeria. That the way I'm looking at it, in the next few years, hard copy will no longer be business. So if you go invest in printing press, you find that you would just be wasting your money. And they agree. So we are heavy. We are heavy in the online community. So that has not stopped me from working in journalism. Of course, before I joined the government, 2019, I was into Nation from behind. I mean, I'm a major contributor to Nation, and I also syndicated columnist. So I'm not less journalist. Just that I realized that things we did 2008, the business model 2008 won't work anymore now. I'm sure you are a publisher. You know what the.
I agree with you. Of all the stories that you've written, in your entire career, which one is the most remarkable and why? One.
It's difficult to say that. When I say that, I haven't been in the industry for over 30 years. It's almost difficult to say this story, but people say I'm very troublesome. People say I'm very, very troublesome. maybe let's just look at it for now. Okay, the story you are telling, which will cause most wahala in Nigeria? A lot of them. There was a story. It's my birthday, and it's a season of good. I don't want to say things that will offend. On the positive side, I will say there's a story I wrote in 1996 about a certain guy. I think his name is Osama Gogo. He was on the death row. He was on the death row in Oko prison in Edo State. That was 1996. I heard about the story and I did a follow-up. I did a human angle story showing that he was a repented person. That while he was awaiting the hangman, he wrote WAEC and he came out well. He had become a pastor while in prison. And based on the story I wrote, he was offered amnesty. That saved him from death. So for me, I would consider that as one of the most
remarkable.
My story saved a man from. Then
how about the negative one?
You said
negative one. Talk about one positive one. Okay, let me give you the opposite. Also talk about one negative one. Maybe one that you would but speak everywhere.
I don't want to mention. We are now friends, so I don't want to. But let me
Okay, from south, southeast, north. From which of the zones?
Let me just say two zones. One is one is southwest. One is south. Okay. The one is southwest. So we published a story. The story was so sensational that the governor there. It was a report. Let me expand it to three now. One pertains to a pastor. A well-known pastor in Nigeria. One pertains to a former president of Nigeria. One pertains to a sitting governor. So the one about the sitting governor, the story was so sensational that he got a magistrate's order from his state to get me arrested and my chief correspondent in Abuja. And the guy ended up being. They told him he should come they had supplement for him, advert for him. It was just a trap. He rushed to the location only for police people to round him up. They put him in handcuff, flew him to the state capital. So when he was already in detention for about 3 days before we got to know. So I was alerted. I was running National Live then. So we did follow up on the story. It became a national scandal for that government. He also got a magistrate warrant of arrest for me to get me arrested. So the day we finally met one-on-one, the meeting was brokered by a mutual friend, the governor. who is my friend, who now organized a peace meeting for us. So when we finally met, he was still so enraged that he almost physically assaulted me. But I stood my, I'm a boxer, I stood up to him. So at some point, so eventually the tools we struck them was, I said, look, I wasn't going to apologize because the story you wrote was correct. As a matter of fact, when we wanted your reaction, your chief press secretary then offered my editor, who was a Christian editor, he offered him, he said they should name any price that they were going to buy the edition. And I felt insulted. And I said that reaction should be reflected in the story. So I said what we wrote is not true. But long story short, the truth we struck was that you let the captive go, the guy in your custody, because he's a governor. They was able to ensure that guy was locked up. He was just locked up. They were going to arraign him in the state capital. So based on that intervention, he called the attorney general, and the guy was released. In another 1 hour, the guy come and say, "I've been released from custody." So the warrant of arrest on me was also quashed. So thereafter, we became friends. He's a former governor now. Then there was another, a lot of stories we wrote. When we write story back then, I'm sorry to say, I don't see those rascality now again in the media. People don't make people in government. They don't make people in government uncomfortable anymore. There was a couple of stories we wrote, and once it gets to the newsstand, some of those affected, they will go and more public copies nationwide. I'll tell you about the other story. There's another pastor, popular GO, the leading Pentecostal churches in Nigeria. There was a petition against him, which no editor was prepared to publish. You don't go near church. So we published, and the pastor started fighting. He was using people to attack us and all of that. Eventually, we.
What was the nature of the story?
In fact, there were two major Pentecostal churches in Nigeria. One pertained with I think a rebel pastor of this church who is overseas. It declared self-government in the parish of the church in their country, and so he now did a petition against the pastor, and nobody wanted to publish. It happened that we had a foreign correspondent in that country then who was sending a report, and we published. And the story also ran for about 3 weeks. We did we followed up 3 weeks until we now came to truth. There was another one we published. The story we published led to the removal of the general overseer of that church. It's a major one of the biggest churches. What we wrote led to his removal. He was very angry initially when he saw me, and when later we became friends. It's late now. May God rest his soul. There's another story on a former president. There was a very satanic story on him. I don't want to go into details. And when we published, it was actually copy papers. When we published, the papers sold out. I was in Sundays. I think it was the last edition I did in Sunday Sun. The papers sold out completely, sold out 100%. That was all. In fact, vendors were now photocopying the story. And some of the former president friend called me. Said, "Louis," I said, "It's the truth. If it's a lie, let him challenge me." So they never did.
The last story about the former president, what was it about? What was the nature of the story?
Yeah, very personal stories. It turned out that what we published was affidavit. Okay. Affidavit against him, which we got that exclusively. In Nigeria, it's often said that there are sacred cows. We didn't have any sacred cows, so we just went to town.
Of all the interviews that you've conducted, which one would you describe as the most memorable, and why? Of all the people that you have interviewed in your entire journalism career?
Well, again, I can only mention the story, praying that those at the receiving end won't feel hurt by those. Sometimes. It's important. Okay, let me use the famous line by a Somalian writer, Nuruddin Farah. He said all good writings are subversive. All good journalism job, it's always at somebody's expense. It's either you are exposing a corrupt governor, you are exposing a rogue president, you are exposing somebody doing something bad somewhere. So it's often at the expense of somebody. So this particular interview, again with my close friend, my big brother and friend, Jimo Ibrahim, I would regard that as it was a story that shook the business world in Nigeria. This was this should be around 2006 or thereabout. 2006. Again, that I was editor of Sunday. That edition sold out 100%. And you know, when Jimo Ibrahim decided to talk in the no holds bar interview, he was attacking everybody that was somebody that he was attacking. So it was so I don't want to mention those who were affected, because again, like I said, I don't want to hurt people. I'm sorry if those guys were hurt in the past. So that's a lot of we don't talk
Okay.
story with even I also remember even my intellectual role model, I'm talking on the Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka. He's also been very, very wonderful, helpful to me. So when I look back, sometimes I laugh, sometimes I feel sober, because things we did there were just crazy.